Hello, hello, hello there. It is your girl, Dr. Cresslin, 2 days in a row. How you like that? 2 days in a row. Well, today you are in for a special treat as we are meeting again, my friend LaSonja Greene. I know I haven't been on here much, so trying to get back in the rhythm of things and kind of update you on what's going on in my life and in my world. So let me see if I can get my friend on, LaSonja Greene. We were doing the Manifest Mondays, and we were doing the Manifest Mondays. There she is. Hey, Sonia.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I don't like that background. Let's do that. So, how are you? How are you?
Oh, I am doing really, really good. I am so excited for the seasons changing, and I tell you what, I am most proud that I didn't kill my ferns this winter. So I'm real excited about that. If nothing else happens good in my life,
Uh-huh.
right now, I can stand on the fact that I did not kill my ferns this past winter. So this will be the first year that I didn't have to go and buy new ferns from Costco in the spring.
Yes. These days we have to count all of our blessings, and we are
Absolutely.
responsible for Mother Earth. She supports us, and we have to support her. So that is indeed a victory. Some people look at that, may consider that to be a very minute thing, but that is any time that we preserve the earth is a victory. So, uh, very good. Very, very, very good. I'm trying to go a
Mhm.
green thumb. I planted some flowers, girl. So
Look at you.
that's not my thing. I normally hire somebody to do that, but
That's
I,
all right.
I did plant some flowers this time. But I wanted to just catch everybody up because we were doing the Manifestation Mondays podcast and videos, and so we've kind of been MIA, a little bit, and so I just wanted to bring people up to date on the pause. We took a break. Life is happening, and sometimes we just have to take a pause. And so I want you to talk to everybody about the importance sometimes when you start something and the spirit leads you in a different direction, why it's important to be obedient to the pause.
Well, I think this has my name written all over it, like my middle name, everything that any of my relatives have ever nicknamed me, and everything, because this is so personal for every single person. I say that, very humorously, regarding my own path, but every single person needs to understand. If they don't understand anything else in life, all of the great, words of wisdom, pause is so important. You
Mm-hmm.
know, pause, presence, um, particulars. You can choose a lot of P words that go along with pause,
Mm-hmm.
and the importance is just the same. Because
Absolutely.
for me, because, and we've talked about this over and over again, I'm a plan A, plan B, plan C, if the backup plan for that, and then that. And, we make ourselves so busy, and we're our worst critic, and we're the hardest on ourselves. And,
Mm-hmm.
and if things don't continue to flow like we think they should, then we always are so hard on ourselves. And
Absolutely.
sometimes it's not time for another P word, another progression,
Mm.
toward something else. It
Mm-hmm.
may be time for a pause,
Yes.
to
Yes.
take some time. Like my friend Cresslin tells me, you need to get yourself somewhere and get quiet and align yourself so
Mm-hmm.
that you can hear what you need to do. And,
Absolutely.
and, and sometimes that is just sit down and be quiet. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
so for me, I think that is imperative that people, that our listeners get that, because sometimes that is like the difference between how you cope with something and how you feel like it's falling apart.
Right.
So
Right.
that's my that's my thing on taking a pause. I have to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah. And so we took a pause. So those of you just joining, LaSonja and I were doing the Manifestation Mondays on my podcast, and we were sharing the videos and the podcast recordings on the Dr. Cresslin page. So I thank you for being here. I'm looking at you on my phone and on my computer. So if I move my eyes away from the screen, that's what I'm doing. Just want to say hi to LaTanya and Chandria and everybody else that's on here. Just thank you so much for being here. So what we're talking about is being in alignment. And sometimes it just because you take a pause doesn't mean that you're out of alignment when you started something. It just means there's some more tweaking that needs to be done, or you need to take a break and you need to reflect, or you need to regroup. And so life has been happening. Both of us are very busy, doing some other things. And so just have not been able to really squeeze in the time to pull off the Manifestation Mondays. But we're definitely haven't forgotten about you guys, and definitely want to continue to sow into your lives about understanding who you are, who your source is, and the fact that you can manifest the life that you desire, especially during these times when like the world seems so crazy. We want you to know that you still can, but in alignment, sometimes you have to just halt. You just have to stop and regroup. And so that to me, Sonia, it causes for reflection, because a lot of people pause and quit.
Right.
Some people think the pause is a quit. So I don't know who I'm talking to out there, but if you feel like that your life has been put on hold, that does not mean it's over. That it's quitting time just because you haven't been able to push that book out, or enter into that relationship, or whatever it is that you're desiring and that you've been working towards and you've been working on, and now you've had to take a break from it. Pausing does not always mean quit. So I just want to encourage you today to understand that. But I do think it's important that when we come to this stopping point, that we get to the reflection.
That's right. And from a professor standpoint, I'll pull out my professor hat, and that is, grammatically, when we're writing, we have punctuation.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we're trying to put a period where a comma goes for a pause, instead of um, a comma. We put a period there in the middle of a sentence where they only just it only requires a comma for a pause. And
Mm-hmm.
then if you don't get to that grammatically correct analogy in your pause, you can
Mm-hmm.
never get to the reflection so that you can finish out what you're trying to say, or what you're trying to do, or the direction you're trying to take. And so you
Wow.
can't get a full idea in direction if you
Wow.
do not finish the sentence after a pause, if you ended the sentence too soon.
Girl, you said that. You said that. That, that comma is powerful.
It's
That comma
powerful.
is powerful. You are so right. So how do you finish the sentence if you just try to put a period at the end of a phrase and the sentence is not complete?
It is
Wow.
not complete.
Wow, 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 wow. I love it. I love it. And so that's why reflection, sometimes you get to the comma and you say, now what is it? What is it that I'm really trying to say? What is it? A and? Is it a but? Is it a therefore? Is it a so what that comes after this? What is it that I'm really trying to say? And if we don't take time to really sit with ourselves and reflect, be quiet, lean in to ourselves and figure out, what am I doing? What clarity do I need right now? And ask those questions to get that clarity. And the only way we can do that is through our reflection.
Absolutely.
I heard a quote. Can't remember who said it, but it was like, a life not reflected on is not one worth living. Is one, yeah, not one worth living. And so if we're just going through life like a freight train, and we're never pausing and
Mhm.
reflecting on our lives and on what we're doing, how do we even know that we're being purposeful and we're doing what we're here to do if we don't reflect? And that we're
That's
in
right.
alignment if we don't reflect.
That is absolutely right. And when I was thinking about the comma, I heard I attended a youth program, and we were talking about the speaker was talking to the parents at the time, and he talked about the scripture where it says, "Raise up a child in the way they should go in the admiration of Christ, comma."
Mm, and when they're old.
You can sometimes you can't get straight to the rest of the sentence and the rest of the scripture, right?
Right.
Because that sometimes kids become wayward children.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes kids get into things that they shouldn't, and they don't immediately go right into coming back to where they were raised. But as
Mm-hmm.
a parent, at that comma, when those kids are doing all of those things, you reflect. You reflect about how you raised them. You reflect about the time that you spent, and money and resources and sleepless nights making cupcakes or
Yeah.
cookies for a class party the next day or whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to go back and look at the things that we are so natural about so that we can make that applicable to these challenging adult things so that we can have a good comprehension about what we should be doing at that reflection. So that's why I was like, when he said that, honey, I wanted to give that man a high five because
Uh-huh.
it is like that. As a parent, you become anxious. You think, okay, I've raised these kids, I've done all these things, and why is it that they're taking this direction, or
Right.
why, when are they going to come back to it? And we
Mm-hmm.
have to hold our own self accountable in reflection too. Be like, I've gone to school, I
Mm-hmm.
put time into outlining my book. I deserve to at least see it through.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, I, I've put so much time and effort into a project. You don't paint half a wall just
Right.
because you get tired.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And and even in that pause, raise up a child in the way that they should go, comma. And when they're wayward and they're doing their own thing, they're coming into their own alignment. They're
That's
coming into
right.
their own alignment, and those relationships are ever changing. And so when that pause, that comma happens, and the child is not moving in the direction that we want them to go, then it's time for us to reflect. Like, what are the dynamics of this relationship now? What are the changes? What are the
Mhm.
things that I'm gonna have to make? What are the
Mhm.
areas that I need to change and grow in? And how do I need to modify how I interact with that child in order to help them get fully aligned and help myself get fully aligned in this newness of this relationship, the dynamics of this relationship? So what we're talking about, y'all, is alignment. And sometimes we jump out here and we do things, and we know God told us to do it. It's fun. We're having a great time. But then there's something may happen, a life event that may happen that causes you to have to stop. And that's the best time, when things are not going the way that we want them, is a good time to reflect. It's a good time to just sit back and reflect. And with reflection comes modification. Like you just, you mentioned earlier, we may have to
Mhm.
modify some things. So that's important. The pause, the reflection, and then once we reflect, what is it that I need to change, if anything, and where some areas that I can grow in? Because what I've learned is that um, situations that happen that we don't want, they always end up being opportunities for growth. There's all wherever
Absolutely.
there's a threat, there's an opportunity for growth. I see everybody logging on. I thank you. We're also on YouTube, so feel free to join us or follow Dr. Crescent on YouTube as well. Like, add, bring people into the conversation, whatever you choose to do. But this is about alignment and trying to find your alignment, trying to find your path. And sometimes the path starts getting very curvy. You come to a crossroads, things change. And so my friend and we're just having a grown woman conversation about what
Right.
that looks like. And we invite you to the conversation. So make sure you leave some comments, and I thank you for watching. So Sonia, what do you think about change and growth? I love personal growth and development, but you know, sometimes I feel like I'm a one percenter in that. So what do you think about?
Yeah, sometimes my brain is like ticking, and that's horrible when it comes to listening because I get excited sometimes when I hear some things and my brain starts taking on this strategic form and working these ideas and thought processes in my mind. But, the two things that come to mind when we
Mm-hmm.
talk about change and grow. And that is, I remember we celebrated a 50th birthday with a friend of mine, a good friend of mine. She no longer lives in Huntsville. She lives in Georgia. And we rented a cabin, and it was just all girls. And we hired this chef to come up, and he was telling us all these great stories. And he was talking about, how we look at things in life. And
Mm-hmm.
so he said, um, their house started burning. They had a house fire. And he got all his family out. They were all safe, got downstairs. They standing in front of the house with the fire department, everybody, the whole neighborhood. And his wife is hysterical. And she's like, oh my gosh, it's just horrible. It's just horrible. And he's sitting there like, I wanted a new house anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
so, some things, I mean, that's an extreme, change, and and that is an opportunity to grow.
Mm-hmm.
But I always like to use that in how you look at change and growth. And the other thing that I wanted to share was something that we talk about. We're real passive about it. So Kreslin and I, of course, are both entrepreneurs, and we haven't always been entrepreneurs. And we had these, we call them the suits. And so, 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 in the first part of our early years of our career, we had to wear them suits,
So
baby.
funny. What?
And we had to get as many degrees as we could put under our belt, and we had to dress to impress, honey, and we were making waves. But now, when we look in them closets,
My
we
God.
have to get ready to, after you had that reflection, you have to, according to Oprah Winfrey, she said, you dress and your wardrobe should reflect the lifestyle that you currently lead. And so,
Mhm.
if just using, an example, if your life no longer requires a suit, after that pause reflection, then it's time for a change. And it's time
Mhm.
to purge. And it's
Mhm.
time to
Mhm.
prepare for your progression if you
Mhm.
want to use all P's.
Mhm.
But, making that transition from all suits
Mhm.
to growth into entrepreneurship. It may be a hard hat on a construction site. It
Mhm.
may be, um, just that casual chic, attire,
Mhm.
from going to women conferences across the country and talking to women about alignment and talking to women about growth and how we, prepare for all of these life changing things. But if we
Mhm.
were stuck in suits mentality, we
Mhm.
wouldn't be able to embrace entrepreneurship at its finest and at its all the things that it presents to us to enhance us to grow and be all that our lives require and has planned and provision for us to be. So those are
Yeah.
my kind of change and grow. I had to throw them suits in there. You may
Girl,
get me for
because
that.
you know what
I had
it
to
made
throw
me
them in
think about the suits like straight jackets.
there. They are.
They are like straight jackets, for us. Now, if y'all like suits, wear them. But I'm saying at the point where we are in our lives right now, I was a school principal and LaSonja's been a successful pharmaceutical sales lady, all of that. I mean, so we've done all of that and now going into business and then trying to network in circles and all of that. And everybody's in those suits. And I went to an event one time where you go in there to try to sell yourself and everybody in them suits. I was just like, Sonya,
Right.
I wanted to throw up because what it symbolized for me is striving,
Mhm.
trying to make people like you, trying to fit in, trying to be all those things. And it didn't reflect who I truly was as a person. And I was like, I just refuse as an entrepreneur at this point to sell my soul trying to get buy-in from somebody to be liked, to hopefully they'll take my card and all of that. And the suits just represented all of that to me. And I just could not do it.
Mm-mm.
why not
Mm-mm.
why not a dress or slacks and a nice blouse? Why do I have to have on you know, all of that?
That
So
power suit.
yeah, and I mean, like a couple of my white suits and stuff like that, I still own them because that's like one of my signature colors, and I own them. That might be a statement piece if I'm going to speak somewhere or something like that, but not just getting up, putting on suits every day. No, ma'am. No,
Oh,
ma'am.
yeah. So I
No, ma'am.
just thought that was so good to bring up because like you mentioned, there's nothing against wearing suits. And if that's a part of your journey right now and in your career path, we've already walked that part of our career path and have
Mm,
worn those suits. And we can pull out a good suit if we need, if it's absolutely necessary. Because, when you are women who want to encourage women to be the best that they can be with that power that they have within them, it
mm.
calls for a larger stage. And sometimes we may have to wear a suit every now and then. So we're
Yeah,
not we're not
yeah,
discouraging suits, but we're
yeah,
just giving you parallels so that you'll understand that when change does come, it's okay.
yeah,
Taking change, it doesn't mean anything except for that. It's just a change in your wardrobe oftentimes is a good representation, especially as women. We get right to it. But I
yeah,
don't give up my 3-inch heels. I don't
yeah.
give up my stilettos. I'm sorry.
Because you know what it boils down to is being authentic. We grow, we
Absolutely.
change, we grow, we change, just like what we were saying earlier. And so, but there's an authentic self that's there, and it's important to me for success in entrepreneurship and success in relationships with yourself and everybody else. Authenticity is key. It's important. And so if someone, if they feel more authentic in the suit, that's what they need to wear. For
Right.
me, and at one point in my life, it felt right to me, but at this point it doesn't. And so that's what we're talking about is alignment and the changes that come about sometimes when we're really getting that alignment. Sonya, I'm going to put you on and let you talk for a minute because I need to answer this call for a second. Hold on one second.
Sure.
Hold on. Hey, y'all, let me yeah, go ahead, Sonya. I'm going to
So
turn it
the
over to
one, so the one thing that that we have talked about in Manifest Mondays is, embracing and allowing the things that come our way that causes us to change and causes us to grow. And how you deal with that is going to be more important than how um, you receive what's happening and what's transpiring in your life. So, if you're able to adapt to change, it just means being flexible. It just means that you are able to allow the things that come into your life, however they arrived at your life. Sometimes we don't always get a chance to plan how things arrive in our life, but we have the choice to respond to how those things arrive in our life, to allow for that change. And then as we grow through acceptance of that change, then those things will determine how we impact other people's lives too. Because as good as we think we are, and as hard as we've worked, and as meaningful and thoughtful and authentic as we have been about growth, it's never about your individual growth. It's always about you sharing your experiences and your growth and your change with other people so that they can see themselves and become as authentic as they need to be themselves so that they can grow as well. So I always talk about change in a multifaceted way, in girls best friend, which is a diamond.
Hmm.
We love sparkly, don't we?
Yes,
We
we do.
love sparkly. So when we look at a diamond, we are most impressed with the brilliance and how that light hits that stone, coming in and out through those facets, honey. Showing your best girlfriend that you represent some sparkly,
Mhm.
and um and so our change and our authentic self is just like the light that goes in and out of a brilliant and a beautiful stone. It radiates right back out to other people to let them benefit from the beauty of your change
Mhm.
and your growth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. And when we go through that process of changing and growing, sometimes it's time to regroup. It's regroup. So I was, talking to Sonya this morning. I was like, listen, we haven't been able to do Manifestation Monday, but let's get on live and talk about it. Let's be vulnerable and transparent to the public. Because when you start something, people tend to start expecting it, whether they're liking it, sharing it or not. People are listening, and they come to expect it. So we're just being accountable to you to let you know that we have not forgotten you, that we still, talk about the importance of being able to have a manifesting conscious, to know who we are, whose we are, and that we should never have to ask or beg for anything, that a 24-day supply is a given. It's a given. It's
That's
a
right.
given. The birds fly around in the air every day, and they know exactly where to land on the ground to get the worm that's under the ground. So if the birds are provided for, then our 24-hour provision is a given. And then all the other, the extra, I mean, it's gravy, but we can still manifest those things. So we do want to still share those things with you, but right now, like I said, we are just taking the pause, reflecting, changing, and regrouping. Because as an entrepreneur, if you're on here, you already know, when you go into business, especially if you're multi-talented, you can do a lot of things. You tend to do a lot of things when you start off in your business, and try to be all things to all people. And so, guilty is charged all the time. Guilty, guilty, guilty. And
Yes, because she
so,
does a lot, y'all.
yeah. So I think sometimes God puts the pause in there so that you can really. I've had a lot of pauses in being in entrepreneurship over the last 11 years. And I feel like every time my spine gets a little straighter, it's just more and more alignment. I am not there yet, but it's coming. It's
Well,
coming.
it's not a destination, it's a journey. So
Absolutely.
uh, Look, as soon as, just like with, I always use the analogy of raising children. As soon as you think you got them straightened out on one thing, then they throw you a curveball and something else has to cut. So you're always on a path toward being straightened and being aligned. And as soon as you get aligned with what part of your journey in your life is right now, when it's time for growth, guess what? It's a little swerve, and
Mm-hmm.
then you get a little squiggly, and then you get alignment with that, and so
Mm-hmm.
it just keeps going. So I think as soon as we get comfortable in that, then we'll understand how life really works, and we can be less stressful about the things that happen when we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to get aligned and not be so complacent. I think if we throw out complacency, oftentimes we'll get a little bit more peaceful
Mm-hmm.
about change and growth, and how do we regroup and accept, what where we are.
Yeah, yeah. Any final comments about alignment? Anything that you want to share with people when they let's talk about this. What it feels like when you're not in alignment.
Now you're gonna put me on blast in front of all these people.
We're just wrapping up. We just want to give them some nuggets to let so that they're clear about what alignment is and kind of how it works. So, what does it feel like when we're not in alignment?
Let me tell you, when you're not in alignment, it feels like, common terms we call the hamster wheel,
Mm-hmm.
doing donuts,
Mm-hmm.
um, in one place when you can just easily straighten out yourself and keep it moving. When you're not in alignment, you invite all the things that you are hoping don't happen to happen,
Mm-hmm.
because you're focused more on the things that's keeping you out of alignment than you are focused on the things to help you get in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
And a perfect example of that is, if we're in pain, if something's ailing us, if we have a sore spot somewhere physically on our body, and instead of focusing on, I'm going to relieve this pain, and so my body can get relaxed and peaceful, we focus on the pain itself. Oh, my head has been hurting all day. Why? Why
Mm-hmm.
has it been hurting all day when you have all of these opportunities? You had 30 minutes to lay down and maybe take you a quick little nap. So,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is that is causing pain or causing yourself and your life to be unaligned and out of alignment, then focus on what you can do to get yourself back in alignment, as opposed to focusing on the things that's keeping you out of alignment. And
Mm-hmm.
so that way you won't have to suffer through so many different things that cause more and more issues. So,
Right.
and I have a T-shirt, a badge, a trophy, a star for all of that, until I learned how to, try to be in more alignment, as opposed to the circumstances and consequences of being out of alignment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we're not in alignment, we're like on a hamster wheel. We have some pain. We have a lot of extreme frustration typically. I mean, which that can happen in life anyway. But um, or sometimes overwhelmed because we have too many things on our plate, which I think was a part of my issue when we started Manifestation Mondays. I was either just needed to get some other things off my plate because I felt like that was total alignment, and that it still is, but maybe just doing some regrouping and coming back to it. So I don't know about you. I've never been to a chiropractor, but I hate waking up in the morning and my neck, I have a crick in my neck or my back is hurting. And that lets me know that I wasn't aligned while I was asleep. And so a lot of times we're not aligned in what we're supposed to be doing. And so it's very,
Mhm.
very, very, very important to make sure that you know yourself, to know, when God is speaking to you, or your intuition, or your higher self, or you talking to yourself, whatever deem it. It's very important that you listen to that small voice. That's is some For some people, the voice is loud and authoritative, but whatever that voice is that's speaking to you, and that it is the truth that's being spoken, it's important to honor that. Or when things happen in your life that, oh my God, I cannot make it to this, or I can't do this, it's important to honor those as well, to look at them and say, what am I supposed to be doing right now? What am I supposed to be learning? How am I supposed to be growing? Do I need to stop? Do I need to pivot? Do I need to turn to the left, turn to the right? Is this a crossroads? We really have to navigate our way through alignment. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't just happen. That has not been my experience. But like you said earlier, it's not a destination, it's a journey. So even with
Yes.
every little crack every little pop in the spine to straighten us out, even that is a part of the journey. It's not it's not trying to get to a place. It's learning what we're supposed to learn as we go throughout life's journey.
Absolutely.
hmm hmm Well, y'all, this has been fun and it's been real. And Sonia, I thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule with your beautiful self.
Thank you. It's Friday, honey. Everybody pretty on Friday. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
what happened.
yes. uh, I appreciate you for joining in, and just, we want to bring everybody up to date, and at the same time give you some words of encouragement. We love
Yes.
you much and hope that you have a great one. You got any last words, Sonia, before we sign off?
Oh no, I just want to to thank you for being my accountability partner and always willing to be transparent and vulnerable for everyone to grow from your experiences. And I appreciate that about you, and I appreciate that about our relationship. And anybody who's listening can certainly um, appreciate all that people, because time is our most valuable resource. So sharing our time and experiences and thoughts, I think, are huge for us. And as women, we can certainly do that together, and we are better people, humans, and we can operate closer to our life path and what it is that we're destined to be. So I appreciate you for always doing the technical stuff, because y'all, I am not. Um, she always helps us to be aligned technically, so that we can so that we can reach you. So I certainly appreciate all of your efforts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Signing off, everybody. I love you, and continue to look for more conversations. And don't be stingy. Share, tag,
Absolutely.
like, love, comment. I want to hear your thoughts, and I want to support you as your empowerment coach. Okay. Sending you lots of love. Talk to you later. Bye bye.